Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where last episode we got the majority of our Nauka module deployed here, and we deployed it because these photovoltaic panels decided to auto-deploy thanks to MechJeb. Of course, for now, we need to just head directly to the station. So as a hypothetical, if around here we were to burn prograde, what would this end up looking like? Actually, that's really close. But we're a little too far away. We might be able to dial it in using like radial burns. We probably could, actually. This way? Indeed. Something along the lines of that. This is starting our burn in about a minute. Did we ever limit our thrust? No, we did not. We should do that. Okay, so we're basically at the time when we want to start this burn, so I'm going to limit our thrust here, and I'm going to start pointing at the node. But oh, RCS is on. Let's turn that off. I'm going to continue to dial this in a little bit here. No, I don't want that. Stop it. Okay. So I want to bring this radial direction up a wee bit here. Yeah, that's about right. So we're going to be starting this burn in about 10 seconds. Good timing. I like it. It's not like we care all that much about this extra delta V. It's going to be 200 meters per second apart when we get there. That's fine. I'm not too concerned about that. So let's just commence this burn. So off we go to the station, and as we can see here, there's definitely going to be a little bit of movement over time, and that is because we have this mass up here. It's not shocking. Yeah, it's definitely drifting over time, but we appear to be largely... Hang on. Why is this going up? There's something very wrong here. We need to control from here. Okay, that's fine. We can compensate for this. Things are going to get a little awkward there. I was still controlling from this docking port. That's awkward, to be sure. But let's get this burn going. We're going to have to compensate for that, and that's going to cost us a little fuel, but it's not a big deal. We've got plenty of fuel to get this done. I'm not concerned about it. And the offset mass is doing much less than I thought it would be, so it's all good. Absolutely fine. Keep in mind, these fuel tanks are empty, so this is not all that heavy. Okay, so this is going to make our encounter be a little strange, but it should be reasonably close. That was definitely awkward, though. No doubt about that one. So we're just pushing this out until we see this target position here, about 10 more meters per second. I'm going to throttle down here because we're chasing this node a bit. Okay. Somewhere around here looks decent. So that's 17.9 kilometers. That's reasonably fine. We can compensate for that. So I'm going to warp to about here, and we'll hop into target modes. Cool. Now what I want to do is I want to rotate us up over this direction. Well, really, we should be over at retrograde, shouldn't we? So we're going to head down over this way and just do a quick corrective burn. Wow, okay, this is snappy. Let's move this up and over. Okay. SAS on, please. Or I guess, actually, SAS off. And let's put us on kill rot. That would help. Okay, so now I'm going to do a corrective burn about here, bringing down our relative velocity, but this is mostly about changing our directionality. Bring this over to about here or so, and we'll need to do another corrective burn, but that gets us in to 11.2 kilometers. Cool. Now I'm going to warp to about here. Oh, canceled the warp. Now I'm going to warp to about here. Excellent. And we can see that this is actually overcorrected at this point. That's fine. We may need to go around to the other directionality, but for now, this should do. Just bringing this in, although I'm not sure how far we need to burn this. Okay, we're out over here. Gotcha. So somewhere around here should do, for the time being. It's going to need to be a little bit closer than that, but I don't want to burn off too much of our additional speed here. So somewhere about there. How's that looking? 2 kilometers. Not bad. Let's warp forward a little further and then do another corrective burn. Okay, so right about here, we can just gently push that down. Cool. 1.7 kilometers. That's probably close enough, but I'm going to warp in a ways further. We're only at a 50 meter per second differential here, so the station is going to load in now. And that's absolutely fine. So there it is. Also, goodbye frame rate. No doubt about that. Actually, this isn't that bad on the frame rate front. That's about what we normally expect, so that's interesting. No doubt about that. And let's just... Okay, now it's kind of bad. Let's bring this right on down to about there or so. We're a little on this side, so I want to correct it down this way ever so gently. About there. And we are now on a potentially impact trajectory. Okay, well, let's go to relative velocity minus. We're moving pretty slowly here. So let's just get into position and warp in a bit. We're going to have to bring this down to a halt before we can really restart the game, although that definitely does need to happen here. Okay, so we're under a kilometer away now. I want to warp in to around 600 meters. Something like that. Okay, this is about 500 meters. And we're going to continue to approach until we are at about 400 meters here. Okay, commencing burn. And let's bring this down to about 5 meters per second. So that's 25. 20. 15, 10, and that's about 5 meters per second. Okay, looks good. So we are coming in on the zenith side, but we're coming in very, very close to where we need to be. That is intriguing. I'm going to turn on RCS here. I want to get a little bit of momentum. I'm just going to put us on kill rot. I want to get a little bit of momentum out this direction, because I want to bypass the station here, right? So I'm going to turn RCS off now, and I'm going to put us at relative velocity minus. And let's keep an eye on our motion here. Yes, this looks good. We want to get to the far side of the station here. But we're coming in at a very good trajectory, so I like this. Okay, now that we are about here, what we need to do is bring ourselves to a halt. I kind of want to go a little further. About here. Okay, decelerating. And we're going to bring this down to a halt. 3 meters per second. 2 meters per second. 1 meter per second. And we are at a halt-ish. That's 0.3 meters per second. I'm just going to do the rest of this with RCS because we need to adjust our velocity a little bit here. 0.2, 0.1, and that's approximately a halt. You can stop this. Okay. Also, I see that the Dexter is currently flailing about madly. So that means that this had a power loss at some point, and we would need to just reset this. I wish that it didn't do this, to be honest. That would be ideal. Or that it automatically reset itself. So we would need to reset every component here. Yeah, we can see all of these are just kind of loose at this point. This would need to get reset to be at 90. There we go. And there's a lot of components here that are just kind of madly flailing. So all of these would need to get reset. I do wish this was not the behavior that the game did, but it absolutely is. This is normal, expected behavior. And it shouldn't be, but whatever. This guy here needs to be reset here. Okay. And all of this would need to get done. This frame rate is really not as bad as it usually is when we arrive. So I don't know that a restart is actually necessary here, which would be good. So we want to dock this guy up here. We'll set that as our target. And I want to control from here. And I want to point at target. But of course, we're going to need to move quite a lot forward. There's no doubt about that. And we're going to need to move, I think, a little bit down from our current perspective. And what direction do we want these solar panels to be going? That is something that we do need to figure out. So I'm taking a look at that here. The solar panels end up going parallel to our truss structures. Okay, so the solar panels would be laid out like this. So yeah, that's fine. That's absolutely okay. So at this point, we need to head towards this structure. And I'm going to do this at about 0.2 meters per second or so. I want this to be a pretty low amount. And we're going to do something like that. Now what we need to do is we need to head over to the right. And which direction is right? It is left. Okay, good. That is excellent. We can head out over this way, approximately a meter per second or so. We're going to need to head a bit down, which might be up here. Yes, up is down. Sounds good. So controls are just reversed. That is manageable. And yeah, this thing's flailing around. We'll deal with that. Okay, so we need to get into our vertical position here as mission number 1. So let's just let ourselves get fairly aligned in terms of verticality. That arm is so distracting. It's odd that this arm and this arm isn't flailing around, though, isn't it? It seems very odd. Regardless, it's not a big deal. We can just get that taken care of. So our downward position is not quite where we want it to be. We want to continue to head down a little bit. But we're very close at this point. It's not too bad in terms of the positioning. Okay. We're definitely seeing some shadows there. I think that's the shadow from this. We're really close at this point in terms of verticality. I'm going to start bringing it back. We might need to change it a little bit more in the future, but for now, it's looking pretty decent. We're going to need to head a fair amount additionally right. No doubt about that. And we need to... This is interesting. Okay, we are heading nearly entirely right at this point. Yeah. So that seems fine. We can head over this direction. I think a little bit more in the downward velocity is needed, but not a lot. So about here or so. And let's go a little further right. Obviously, we're going to have to rotate this if we want it to be parallel with these, which we do. Oh, this probably had the same problem. We can fix that maybe as well. We'll check that. Okay, I think vertically things are looking okay here. So I'm going to bring this back to about here or so. We're going to head directly right. We need to cover a fair amount of ground out to the right here. And then we'll have to rotate this whole contraption, which is fine. In fact, we should probably think about rotating it right now. Let's see here. I'm thinking about what directionality this is. It's this way. Okay. So we're going to want to bring this around to be somewhere around... little further than this. Somewhere around here or so. Needs to be, I think, still further. About here. Actually, should be about here, but we can dial that in. So at this point, our directionalities are going to be different. Left and right are reversed, as is up and down. Left and right were previously not reversed. Okay, so we're currently heading away from our target point. I'm going to head towards it. I think we're a little over-rotated here. But I'm just bringing this velocity down. We want to head towards the target right now. And that is indeed exactly what we are doing now. We are now headed towards the target. I want this to be about 0.2 meters per second for the moment. We're probably going to bump that up a little bit. Okay, so our vector has been changed here. Taking a look from the perspective of the station, we're definitely a little bit off. I think we need to get closer before we make major additional changes, though. So let's just warp this in. Yeah, we can see we're definitely off in the vertical direction. So I want to get us, we're a little too low at this point. So I want to take this, let's see here. It's going to be this way that we need to go. Okay, so up we go here, and we're just going to get that approximately lined up. Then we're going to need to make sure that we are lined up in this vector, which that angle will be a little bit tougher. We're pretty close, though. Yeah, we're definitely close. So what I want to do right now is make sure that we're close enough in this vector. Are we going to have bouncing issues from the radiator panels? Or are they going to encapsulate this? I think they'll encapsulate. I think they're supposed to anyway. We'll see what that ends up looking like. We definitely need more verticality here. So we're just drifting our way upwards, and we're still heading towards the target broadly. Still a little bit more verticality. Let's bring this up in speed a little bit. Somewhere around... We're very close now. We're not quite there. About here. I'm braking us now. This is probably not exactly on the money, but it is pretty close. So let's kill that relative velocity. I think we might have overshot it slightly, but we're a lot closer than we were, that's for sure. And we're going to start heading in towards the target. I mean, we have been this whole time, but we're going to head in a little bit more towards the target at about 0.3 meters per second. And we can evaluate some of our other positions here. Okay, in terms of the forward-back position, slightly forward is probably needed. So out this way. And then in terms of the vertical position, maybe slightly down at this juncture. So out this way. But broadly, this looks pretty decent. Let's just let this line up a little bit closer. And I'm checking our rotation here. Looks like broadly we need to rotate it around this direction ever so slightly. To about there or so. Okay, checking that forward position. A little forward is still okay here, I think. Vertical position looks decent. Left-right position, I think, is decent as well. Let's bring this into going straight in for right now. I think we're pretty close, and docking forces can probably get us there. So let's warp in a little forward and see if I decide we need any additional changes here. Let's stop at about 10 meters away. This is 11, but it's not actually 11. Okay. Checking our angle. It's close. Overall, I think this is very, very, very close. So we'll see how this goes. We may run into some issues with our radiator panels here. If we do, we can move them. But I'm currently not anticipating major radiator panel issues. I think a little... Oh, no, we just went directly in. I thought we were a little too forward. But, nope. Looks good. Fantastic. So at this point, that is our Nauka module completed. And we're pretty much done here for this flight. Now, I do want to do a little bit of strut work up over here. I want to enter Kerbal construction mode. And we can hopefully reach up to here. I don't know if we actually can or not. We can reach to here, which might be good enough. Can we put a strut to here? Yeah, that's good enough. Okay, next we can grab a strut from... Actually, I kind of want to grab some of these spare struts that are on the cockpit right now. So let's put this one back, and I want to grab this one. Okay, that'll go ideally from here. Eventually the game will catch up to about here. That one worked. Excellent. I want to grab this strut. Can we reach this far side? This is the furthest side for us. It's all the way down here. We might not want to grab this one just yet. So I'm going to grab this side instead, which is also apparently a little far for us. But we can go from here, in theory, to like right here, which is where it's going to connect anyway, most likely. Ooh, that's clipping through. Okay, I would want this to connect approximately there. And then I'm going to grab this strut. And we'll see about getting this one done. I don't know that this is going to happen, but it is about the same height as that other one. So we'll just put that here. And then we can see about connecting that to approximately there. And actually, yeah, that works fine. So now we can grab this strut and remove that. There we go. Put that back in the cockpit, and then we can board. And we're ready to bring these guys back already. Like, there's nothing else to do here. So we're going to... one of these. Undock this. There we go. And then we can hop over to our shuttle, and we can stow this. So that's going to be a target angle of... and I want to make sure that we're controlling from here. Which we should be. Yes, we are. Target angle of 180. Stow that away. We can close this, put the shuttle in kill rot, and we can just get some RCS away from the station here. That was very quick and easy compared to some of the other missions. No doubt about it. And yeah, that'll work absolutely fine. There's our Nauka module. I like it. So at this point, we can head over to orbital retrograde. I'm going to turn RCS off for that. We've got plenty of fuel to return home on. The main question is, what direction is retrograde? Oh, I want to do, while that's happening, I want to do some changes here. Specifically, this guy here, this hinge, I want to fix that. This hinge, I want to fix that. There we go. Similarly, there's some hinges down here that need fixing. Specifically, this one. Where's the actual hinge at? Can we see it from this side? There is a hinge here. We're just having a bit of a hard time actually selecting it. It's right here. Okay, so that is 90. Sure, we'll just do that. Bring that back into line. This one looks good. Okay, so the only parts that are now having issues are our robotic arm parts over here for our Dexter. That's a lot of parts, and I kind of don't feel like fixing it right now. So all I'm going to do for the moment is I'm going to put this guy at an angle of 0. Oh, -1 is close enough. And this one, I'm going to put in an angle of -2. And that's just going to hold the Dexter further away from the station. So this is still going to flail around, but that's okay for the time being. I'm not too concerned about that. Retrograde is a good area away from the station, so let's go ahead and burn this down. We are ready to leave, and we are out of here. I like how the Russian side of the station is now also at a jaunty angle. It's absolute perfection. We can fix that if we want to later on. It's broadly universally the same, but the whole section is a little skewed. It'll be fine, I'm sure. I'm not too concerned about it. I'm really not. That sort of radial accuracy it's complicated to eyeball. No doubt about it. And I'm not convinced that we can do that much better. I mean, we can improve it. It's just a question of putting the time in, right? It's purely a visual thing, and I don't think it's worth the time. So we're just going to bring this down to a periapsis height of about 70 kilometers, and we'll bring these guys home. But that is, of course, a next episode sort of thing. Let's just finish up this burn, and then I'm going to put a cut in, because it is about that time. So as soon as the station unloads here, our frame rate will recover. I'm surprised that the frame rate wasn't lower than it was, to be honest. It usually requires a restart when we load that in. I wonder if that's because the Dexter was flailing around like mad. Maybe. Now that I think about it. Our periapsis height is 63 kilometers. Let's just correct that quick. Station is unloaded at this time, so we've got a good frame rate, and we can just bump this back up to be about here. And now it is time to put that cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to bring these guys down. Maybe I skip the bringing it down recording again. We'll see. I'll see how I feel about that. But for now, it is time to put that cut in here. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings. And a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Andy McGar, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.